It's the Starcraft 2 Finals for the After Hours Gaming League. I'm joined by the unbelievable, the incredible Maynard. Lee, how are you doing this fine day?
I'm doing great, mate. It's good to hear your voice again.
Oh my god, it's so good. I mean, even that microphone that you're using, it's just ASMR AF right now. Thank you so much for joining us. What is the AHGL? Well, it's basically corporate softball, but for video games. Over 100 companies formed 245 teams for a grand total of 1,700 players to literally participate in a non-professional try-hard tournament where the winner gets to donate $5,000 to the charity of their choosing. And this is the StarCraft 2 Grand Finals. That's literally between Amazon and Amazon.
Yeah. Lots of Amazonians here in this Grand Final here, but I guess it's just the company to beat in StarCraft 2.
I mean, the fact of the matter is, if you're a large company, it's natural that you're going to have multiple teams from the same company in there, and Amazon, they've been crushing it, man. And I think it's important that we talk about who they even are. I mean, Lee, who's our first team?
Well, we actually have Alexa 12 Pool, which is a brilliant name, by the way. And apparently they actually have completely been annihilating this tournament. They have a perfect record right now in the AHGL. And a couple of these names are actually throwbacks to back in the day. Amazon's team's been around since the beginning of the AHGL. Yeah. They're one of the inaugural teams. So it's really sick to see them being so powerful that they actually have to fight themselves in the grand final.
Indeed, and of course, Alexa 12 Pool is donating to the charity Give Well. It's a nonprofit dedicated to finding outstanding giving opportunities and publishing the full details using thousands of hours of research. They'll help you find top-rated charities, evidence-backed, thoroughly vetted, and as always, underfunded. They are going up against... You may recognize some of these names in the history of HGL. They were formerly of the Amazon Prime Pro Team. Now it's Amazon Pain Forest, the spiritual successor to last season's finalists. They had only one loss this season to their opponents today, Alexa 12 Pool. Oh! Child's Play is their charity. They seek to improve the lives of children in pediatric hospitals and other welfare facilities with the kindness and generosity of the video game community and the power of play. If we take a look at both these teams' path to the finals, Lee, it seemed that only Amazon could defeat Amazon.
It just seems like it. I mean, Pain Forest went through Humble Bundle, Bloomberg, National Instruments, who are previous season champions. And then, of course, 12 Pool on the other side of the bracket going through Microsoft Macro Hard, which has been their name since day one.
Which is the
IBM,
best.
It is so good. Like, you can't improve on perfection. And then through IBM and Google Alpha Squadron all the way deep at the back there. So they just cannot be beaten. It's going to take an Amazon to beat an Amazon. So I wonder who's going to take this one. I'm very, very excited. There's a lot of money in this tournament. So either way, one of these charities is going to be very happy with a big fat donation.
And I think something that's so important to bring up right now. I don't think that almost any of the players in the HGL are Grandmaster. Certainly none of them are professional. In fact, they typically range from somewhere between gold to master. But keep in mind, if you're a gold level player and you have a diamond level cannon rush, you can always take down a master level player and bring about Grandmaster level tilt.
That is true. I've definitely lost to people 1,000 MMR lower than me in the past, and it's definitely happened towards the upper echelons of StarCraft as well. Like, hell, I even saw Rotterdam lose to a diamond guy that cannon rushed him and DT rushed him at one time.
Oh my
and that's not a fellow that you'd expect to lose games to a diamond, but...
Oh, that is one of the most beautiful things I've ever heard. I'm so glad you told me that story. That is great. Looks like our game one is getting underway. It's going to be a Protoss versus Protoss. It's going to be DarkZero versus aTcho. Game is loading right now. The map is going to be on Catalyst LE, a PvP. Lee, what are your thoughts about Catalyst LE in the mirror match?
Well, this is a map that's so standard and so beloved by the players that it actually made it into Season 2 of the same ladder this year. So it's a really wonderful map. It doesn't have the sexiest tile set in the whole world, but it's just always caused some wonderful games. Myself included, I keep having wonderful games on this map. It's very standard. It's very macro-centric. There's very clear attack paths from one side of the map to the other, but yeah, it's sticking around and for very good reason. That's my point there.
Well, in the bottom right-hand corner, in the blue trunks, representing Alexa 12 Pool, it's going to be DarkZero. And up in the top left, Representing the Amazon Pain Force, it's going to be aTcho. Starting things off 0-0.
Bless you.
Right.
So aTcho is a 29-year-old Frenchman living in Slovakia. So that's it might be quite the ping here. I'm not sure where this game is hosted, but
I hope you saw it.
Yeah,
oh my gosh, aTcho he's just trying to spam so much. He's so into it that he accidentally... Dude, everyone does this. This is literally the perfect way to start this finals match, man.
Oh, wow. And a gas steal from DarkZero here. This gets into the head of your opponent already. We can see that aTcho is already freaking out a little bit. I think he might have double-clicked his probes there and clicked on that one mineral patch.
This is literally the most perfectly ideal thing that we could have possibly hoped for. aTcho now is literally going to be stuck on the one geyser opening, Yucca Ruckaroo.
Yeah, that kind of stinks, and he hasn't fully saturated his only gas that he can mine from either. So it's looking like he might be forced to...
2 in the gas. Oh my god. Yeah. Oh my god, aTcho. Oh, the pressure is just crushing him. Pain Force. Just hoping he can pull it back together. Either way, does what I always do if my gas gets stolen. I don't know, I'm just expanding, man. If I don't have the money, may as well just go for it.
He certainly is, and without that Cybercore, he can only make Zealots. But on the other side of the map, DarkZero is going for double gates and a Cybercore. And this means that DarkZero can pressure with Stalkers or Adepts, both of which are very hard to deal with when you only have Zealots. So I'm a little worried for aTcho here, specifically for his pros.
Insta double chrono to get the double adept out. And let me be honest, man. If you have started messing with your opponent, just never stop messing with them. If it has already looked like if it's already looked like it's going to be successful, man, you just can't stop. Also, I gotta say, I just got done casting Dota 2, and in Dota 2, if you middle-click to drag, it goes in the complete opposite direction. So,
oh my god.
This is so brutal. Oh my god, the observing Maynard, it's way too difficult.
It is pretty difficult, and I'm locked onto your camera as well. But I think you're doing fine so far. I think you're doing just fine. It's been a while since you've observed some StarCraft 2, but you haven't lost your edge.
Oh, thank you. I am one of the most adept... Oh, look at that. One of the most adept users. Uh-oh. 2 of them dashing in. Great answer by aTcho. Just trying to deny that.
Beautiful. If they got in the main, that would have been really annoying for him. He only has 1 Stalker out at the moment, only 1 gateway, in fact, and he's trying to make up for that by making 2 more gateways back at home. Now, aTcho's kind of... if he can mitigate damage from these Adepts, he could actually take the lead here, but uh-oh.
This is truly dirty gameplay here, man. Gas steal into DT rushes. It looks like this one Adept is going to fall. Probably the second one's going to be able to get out, but not before doing a little bit of damage. And I didn't realize this. This pylon that was built was actually aTcho's pylon, trying to lock in his opponent, because if you do that, I mean, I guess you guarantee that there's not going to be an expansion or something along those lines, but I mean, aTcho, at the very least, has no clue that there are Dark Templar literally seconds from finishing.
Yeah. I mean, if aTcho went across the map and had a look at that natural, he would have those red flags springing in his brain like, where is your Nexus, sir?
Yeah.
You're meant to have a Nexus right now. And that will tell you that something is afoot. Could it be like a proxy robo or a proxy double robo? It is just the Dark Shrine.
Yeah, I mean, there are just not a lot of units here for DarkZero, but his warp gates are finishing up right in time. Let's see, is he going to warp all 3? He warps in 2 here, and I assume the 3rd one's got to go down here, at least defensively. And this is one of the most horrifying moments at all, when you see an undefended natural expansion 4 minutes into a game of Legacy of the Void. You know you're about to die. Wall it off, aTcho, no!
He can force field here. He has that 1 sentry to slow things down. He needs to get an Immortal out of this robotics facility or something, because he just doesn't have the Stalker numbers or even a defensive DT, because there is no robotics facility from aTcho.
Oh my gosh, it's literally just this 1 pylon. I don't even know if this is going to be able to shield its way up, but literally starting the After Hours Gaming League Grand Final for StarCraft 2 with a Dark Templar rush. It couldn't have been a more poetic beginning. Oh, the robotics facility is going down. Where are all the Stalkers? They're making their way back through the map. It's so sad.
They can't shoot the Cloak Boys. This is not very good at all for aTcho. I think this is actually GG already.
Oh my gosh, this poor man. This poor human. Oh my god, aTcho started off accidentally sending all his workers to mine from 1 patch, but aTcho with some deft maneuvering, trying his best. Looks like there is the robo facility that is being built on the other side of the map. Oh god.
Clever, but it's going to take a long time for an observer to get across the map when it's put down in the bottom left corner.
So I think right now the only hope that you have as aTcho is, hey, is there some way that I can possibly bring down this Nexus and then possibly stabilize here. Looks like additional force fields are being thrown down. I mean, I don't even think DarkZero is paying attention here. He's just trying to do his absolute best to defend against all this threat.
I actually like this. There's no ability for the Dark Templar to be warped in the low ground to defend that Nexus, and there is still that Nexus alive for aTcho. So even though he's been taking a lot of DT damage, he still has around the same workers. Oh, wow. He's played Knifey Sweetie before this base race mode. He's going into Nexus in the bottom left corner here.
All right, well, he's trying to dip, duck, dodge, dive, and slowly die with all his probes to give time enough for the Observer to pop out. Oh, Maynard. Oh, it's a grim look, but my God, do I admire aTcho for hanging on.
Oh, he's got that fighter's pride here. He's really putting in the work, but he sends those probes to the bottom left. That's actually going to tip off the Nexus to DarkZero.
That's probably going to be a little painful. Here comes the Observer.
Oh, hello.
All right, there it is. Cross map.
He's found that proxy robotics facility, and he just really wants to get rid of these DTs. Keep in mind that aTcho has been keeping DarkZero on one base, and in Legacy of the Void, it's very, very quick to mine out your main base. There's not a whole lot of minerals left here.
Yeah, he's actually pretty close to going broke on about half of those mineral patches. In the main base, DTs are slowly chewing away one building at a time. And hey, I mean, the advantage is technically 3 Nexuses to 1, baby.
Technically, and you know what? Technically correct is the best kind of correct. But there is a scary army here for DarkZero now. He has a couple of mortals. Very, very good anti-stalker army composition, which is exactly the army of aTcho.
Oh,
and
gosh.
GG. That's too much here.
It's GG. A swift game number 1 going the way of Alexa 12 pool. Oh, my gosh. What a...
Oh my God,
alarm just went off to remind me to cast the After Hours Gaming League Grand Final for StarCraft 2. That's how organization works, Maynard. Dude. I'm going to go ahead and take a sip from this water glass. As well as a sip from this water mug.
Double water and an alarm during the thing that you got an alarm for. You are adulting a little too hard over there.
I know. I'm so prepared. If I see an invisible unit, I'm going to scan, build a turret, and of course ask for allied vision.
That's right. And triple scan right on that one DT just to make sure it's to take the hell out of it.
Indubitably. Now, at this point, it means that Alexa 12 pool is up 1-0. I mean, DarkZero kind of put the hurt on. DarkZero and those blue trunks just... You know, it's... I always feel... I don't know, do you ever have one of these moments where you're thinking about all the different possible variations that can go on, some of the common meta builds you've been seeing? Maybe there's a new style that someone in GSL pulled on a map, and you're just like, I'm going to keep track of this going into this match, and then it's a Dark Templar rush, and I'm like, okay. All right, it's a different game now.
Yeah, that's when I see the proxy Dark Shrine, I wish I had like a seat belt on my chair to buckle in and get ready for the madness.
That has to be the next innovation in gaming chairs, where it's like, and you like pull the strap down and buckle in. You know, people would buy it literally just for the sake of streaming, just to be able to buckle in at the start of a game.
You know how I actually I don't have this in Australia yet, but I was in Vancouver recently for a tournament, and for the first time I went to a cinema that actually had these seats that move, like they vibrate and like rock you back and forth during the movie.
Oh, that's good. Like, we should do that.
Imagine that for a gaming chair, though. Someone proxies a Dark Shrine and you're observing the game, and your chair's just like, whoa! We're in for madness.
That's. I actually feel like in a game of StarCraft with that amount of intensity, that's what's truly needed.
I'd have a heart attack. I wouldn't make it to 40. I'd be like a canary inside of a cage that's shaken too much.
Oh, dude. I mean, the best is like when a DT hits a probe and you like don't notice. If your chair would just shake slightly, if it would just shake a little bit. What's something going on? You start checking mineral fields, or like a nuke as it's getting closer. Your chair just vibrating more and more and more and more and more.
Oh no! Oh god, that's giving me anxiety just thinking about it. I mean, it'd be really good for minimap awareness. People that struggle with minimap awareness, it'd be fantastic. But it'd have to be banned in tournaments, I think.
Oh my goodness.
It's a little too good.
Oh my gosh, looks like our next game is going to be another Protoss versus Protoss. It's going to be on Redshift LE. We're going directly into the next game. This is going to be ZestIsBest, a.k.a. Charlie, from Alexa 12 pool, going up against Katfish from Amazon Pain Forest. Now, this... I always thought that Redshift had like a really interesting shape to it. It's our next map. It's sort of mirrored.
It does.
It doesn't have the usual rotational symmetry that you might expect.
No, and it's a little weird. A lot of people vetoed this one because of the specific function on the very left-hand side of the map where the gold bases are. So the gold bases have very low mineral, well, I mean, get high mineral yield, but they don't have a whole lot of minerals on those patches. So you can, similar to a Brood War map, there's a few maps that have, paths blocked by a mineral patch. You can open that very quickly by mining from it. Yeah. So you have a very short rush distance to your opponent, and also extremely close by air.
Well, looks like representing the Amazon Pain Force in the top left, here to avenge his Protoss fallen bro, aTcho. It's Katfish in the top left, and down in or bottom left, Charlie, a.k.a. ZestIsBest, which is really a completely appropriate name.
It is appropriate and accurate. And now, I was speaking about the madness of this map, and it's actually looking like both players are trying to proxy each other.
Oh, yes. Oh my god. Like, I literally wanted to give you time to, like, talk a little bit about the map before we go in. Nope, ZestIsBest, we got 1-2. This is so stupid and awesome! Yes! Welcome to the After Hours Gaming League, because if you're trying too hard, you're doing it wrong. This is the way StarCraft is played, not by professional players, but by real people like you and me. Is Katfish actually he kills the probe from ZestIsBest. Wow. Is it gonna be 2 probe kills? Holy damn!
Come on now. Oh wow, this is not gonna feel very good to lose your first 2 probes to scouting workers. I mean, that worker is still idle, but oh man, we got 2 Amazons in the grand final. We got 2 Protoss players and 2 gateways apiece.
This is so sick. Oh my gosh. Katfish currently finishing up those 2 gateways. On the flip side, same thing. Is it going to be double zealots built for both? Indeed. It's going to be just like every time I go to in and out. It's going to be a double.
Double with animal fries.
Oh gosh, uh-oh. We should spend the rest of this game talking about how much food we eat when we go to in and out. Looks like Katfish is trying to build a cyber core, and ZestIsBest isn't. It's just abandoning all of that nonsense to just continue to get zealots.
And I'm not super in love with that. I think cybercore is extremely important, and zealots really only have early game utility. But
oh my God.
They're in the middle line.
Oh,
they are here.
Maynard, I don't know what is correct right now. I was planning for big ol' immortal Archon fights. I was planning for counter warp-ins and blink stalkers to try to deflect against it, but right now it looks like Katfish. The supply is plummeting down, but I think...
both players are taking extreme damage from these zealots. The one thing you don't want to fight zealots with is probes, but because both of their gateways are in their opponent's face, they don't actually have any units back at home. So probes are all they can use. Oh my god.
Now, if we go ahead and actually just take a look at the entire units killed, workers killed, it's actually more than the supply for either player. It's 14 versus 8, but I think right now, technically, Katfish is in the lead. Technically,
yes. Yes. He has more than double the probe count right now, which is a big deal in the mirror matchup.
Yeah, I know. In a game that is so economically based as StarCraft 2, having a leading workers, they're idle! They're sitting there! They're getting whacked upon. If he can just collect enough gold to get like 1 adept, 1 stalker, enough to get a kiting unit, that's going to be it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, he needs more gold. He needs more farms. Probably a little bit of wood as well. This is a little bit rough. He has that cyber core, but he can't afford any of the tech that yields. He needs 100 and a bit minerals to get a stalker, which could maybe kite these zealots.
No.
No.
I think Katfish is getting a little overwrought. It's currently 3 zealots to 2 zealots. Right now, Katfish technically has a supply lead, but I mean, it's in probes, which is just not that useful. Okay, Katfish, you need to be so careful right now. I mean, technically, Katfish does have more buildings, so that could be a potential way to win, but... I cannot believe what I'm seeing.
This is getting weird. This is getting really weird. I thought game 1 was weird, but this is truly insane. I mean, he has to get through these gateways, which means he has to get to the other side of the map to take them out for this base race. And ZestIsBest has the zealot advantage. It's 3-2.
But I think that there was a significant mistake that was made on the part of ZestIsBest. ZestIsBest took his money and built a probe. I think he should have saved that money to be able to rebuild an assimilator up at the north side, because right now, this game is so ridiculous. For any of you who have not been watching StarCraft 2 lately, this is the meta. This is pretty much every PvP, am I right?
Yeah, sure. I mean, especially on Redshift, the stuff gets insane. It's hard to analyze games on Redshift. It really is. This map just
Oh,
It
this
doesn't
is
matter
so
how much
great.
prep you do.
Now, this is a best of 7 series, so the first 4 matches are locked in place. These are the important buildings to take down.
I mean, ZestIsBest is it's riding on him. I mean, he is representing the other side of Amazon here. Katfish starting to chat now. Looks like he's about to tap out. XD.
All right. Well,
I mean, what else can you do but XD at this point?
I'm down a Zealot though. Shh! Don't tell him.
30 minerals short. ZestIsBest is just laughing in his face with these XDs.
Now, this could literally be a draw. And if it's a draw, they will literally replay. Yeah, and of course, ZestIsBest would like to remind you can always connect your Amazon Prime to Twitch Prime for a free sub. Oh my gosh, look at that.
Yeah, you certainly can. Are they going to seriously draw here?
Yeah, I think.
They can't draw.
Well, the problem is that it's very hard to choose the engagement that actually wins, because if they both elect to fight, of course 3 Zealots is going to be 2 Zealots. But it looks like a draw's been declared, so we're going to get another rematch. It's amazing.
Okay, all right. PvP on Redshift, take 2.
Wait, no, Katfish, take the draw, man. You're down. What are you doing?
No, dude. Katfish, if you attack, you lose, buddy. Uh-oh. There's 3
Oh
Zealots
my
to
gosh.
2 here, Day 9. Oh my
like,
god.
Is this the first game of StarCraft where a draw and a win can happen in the same game? Oh,
Records
dude.
being shattered here for the AHGL. Oh my god.
Actually, this... Oh, here's the other probe from ZestIsBest. So there's there's more probe power up here for our red Protoss Katfish. This music is so perfect, it's like unnecessarily dramatic for the ridiculous nonsense we're seeing.
My favorite is when that that part of the track gets played while they're building probes and they only have a Nexus. It's the most extreme macro. It's the most extreme macro you've ever seen. Oh my god.
Oh my gosh, are we gonna go to a draw? Okay, this is...
I think we have to, right? There is no reason for Katfish to attack his opponent, and if ZestIsBest attacks his opponent, then he leaves his gateways vulnerable.
Uh-oh. I mean, 4 probes and 2 Zealots might barely be able to favor the other folks. I mean, I don't know about this. I think Katfish...
Oh, buddy block. Katfish is literally throwing this game if he sends these Zealots into those gateways.
No, get out of there. What are you doing?
No.
Oh my gosh. You had the draw. Take the draw. Is he going to get body block? Nah. Okay, so now we have 2 squishy Zealots versus... Where are the probes?
This probe's actually going to depower these gateways. Not that either player can afford anything.
This micro is so sick. Clicking on the mineral fields to get through.
What a god.
Alright, so... Zealot. Back.
Oh, he split up 2 from 2.
Oof. Uh-oh. He's literally just queued each Zealot on each other Zealot.
I cannot believe that Katfish didn't take this draw.
I cannot believe it.
I can't believe he's done this.
That is what an error. What a misplay. I mean, I suppose he's doing the honorable thing, but like, I
guess so.
You gotta be dishonorable. You gotta go for some tactical pauses here and there.
No, this is PvP on Redshift, dude. Honor is not a factor.
Oh my gosh. Why do I even make graphics for the maps when everyone is just gonna cheese? It should just be like, here's the main base, and we should just like zoom in on areas where dark shrines and proxy pylons are built.
Man, this is rough. Now the Zealots are getting onto that pylon, and there's actually not enough Zealots in Katfish's army to win this base race. The base race has begun. ZestIsBest somehow finding his way into this proxy, and Katfish completely out of position here. ZestIsBest is going to win this game.
Wow. Oh my god. Alexa 12 pool. No wonder their name was a command to Alexa to do something ridiculously cheesy. But wait. Alright, 2-on-1. I like these odds. This is good.
Yeah, this is a little bit better.
I would claim that this is a marginally better circumstance.
It's very marginal.
Alright, it's going to be 2-on-2.
Alright, well, the Zealots are trying to use this opportunity to slow down these Zealots of ZestIsBest, but keep in mind that these Zealots of ZestIsBest are actually full on hit points.
Oh,
and here comes the third one. Alright.
It's GG. ZestIsBest pulls it off. Alexa 12 pool takes the series to 2-0 in the shortest games thus far.
Oh my god.
Wow.
And then
holy cow!
Instantly in chat, Alexa 12 Pool just goes, "You're an idiot" to their player.
Oh my gosh! Oh,
they're not being kind. No love lost between Amazon versus Amazon here.
that is a remarkable thing. That is one of the greatest things I have ever seen. Wow. Yeah, let me just make sure my graphics are set up properly. Perfect. That does mean it's going to be a 2-0 lead for Alexa 12 Pool. Now, they were the undefeated team this season, and typically, what you would anticipate, what you would expect, just via the nature of how Stacraft works, what tends to rise to the top is the players who can play the long, stable macro games and mark those solid long-term wins again and again, Maynard. And as it turns out, that's not the way that you play when you're trying to get your money donated to charity.
Absolutely not. I mean, when you're fighting for charity, you actually so bloodthirsty. No one's ever wanted to win more.
Oh my god, it's so good! Wow. Well, I mean, I can't believe I'm going to do this, but let's just do. You know what? There's a lot of places to hide things on Acid Plant. Okay, like
there really is.
It's cross map, and one of the things that I really like about Acid Plant is that, like, technically, it's actually kind of a short distance from really any point of conflict. If you, I mean, right from the start of the game, it's a short rush distance, or excuse me, a short, just overall distance from base to base. But especially as the map gets consumed by expansions, it feels like if you are not super on point with making sure that you're defending properly and splitting properly versus counterattacks, you lose all those bases, especially when you get to 4 or 5 bases. Those things, I mean, it's like a hop, skip, and a jump over there, man.
It really is, and there's also a little bit of high ground and low ground to dip into on your way to your opponent's base as well. If you want to take high ground the whole way to your opponent's base, it is a long walk. But if you take the low ground, then you give yourself up to things like siege tanks on the high ground, or or a big storm from a well-placed High Templar. We are going into a PvZ actually, so not a PvP for our third game.
Now, it's important to note that in the top right and the bottom left, and also the expansions at 12 and 6, are typically where hidden buildings go. And I would expect we're probably going to have a proxy something. I feel like we're going to see proxy Oracle, maybe just proxy 2-gate right off the bat would be perfect from our Protoss Alexa 12 pool. Actually, every single player from Alexa 12 pool is a Protoss player.
Well, I mean, that's a good build. That's a good build right there. So maybe they have a lot of strong proxies, but hopefully they have a couple macro Protosses in their ranks as well.
Yeah.
Just to shake things up a little bit. You know, variety is the spice of life.
Well, it looks like the unthinkable has happened. Up in the top left corner, Amazon Painforest JoLyn is not going to be 12 pooling. No way. Look at this pylon. God. What is this? What is this not doing, like, here, or more importantly, up here? This is absolutely weird to me.
Yeah, well, he's going for the fast wall in on the ground here, so it's like single gate expand from Rippalka, which means that I think he likes to play standard Day 9.
My god, Rippalka from Amazon's Alexa 12 pool. Building a gateway on the low ground, instantly following it right on up with an assimilator. I mean, if he just builds adepts and walls in and takes an expansion, I'm going to jump for joy. Look at this. Look at this. It's an expansion. There's drones being built.
Hatch gas pool, it's the most... Oh my god, it's a standard opening for the Protoss and a standard opening from the Zerg as well.
I hope that we actually see another extractor built, cancelled, and all of a sudden it's going to be a third hatch. And I'm like, yes, this is nutty. But no, indeed, hatch gas pool, going to just be getting all the usual defensive things up. Queens, a little speed for lings here and there. And the Nexus... I didn't realize that you didn't just start the game with one of these, and that's just all you had for all game long. That's incredible. What a twist.
No, I mean, this is the first non-one base game, right? Actually, no, game 1 we had an expansion as well, but it was forced by a gas steal, so it's not a natural expansion. It's an unnatural expansion.
All right, so we're going to be seeing a little bit of good old macro styles. Now, if we take a journey through the middle of the map, these debris are really the things that kind of block you from ever getting the super rush distance here on either side of the map. But I find it such an uncomfortable map to play on, really in any matchup, just due to the fact that when you start to get out to these side expansions, or what I was talking about, I mean, this distance from here just down to where the enemy's army is going to want to be, or looping around up to this top expansion, it's just not that far. And the map is like wider than it is. Well, it's like the diagonal across it is just ripe for conflict throughout the entire mid-game to late game. So I find it to be one of the more difficult maps to manage if you're not a super diligent mini-map watcher.
Yeah, well, thankfully for the Zerg players, if you're very, very good at spreading creep, it makes things a lot easier. Ooh, wow. Saves that probe. Very nice. And he's also going for a Stargate opener here. With Adept Stargate, this is a very, very regular PvZ opener here. Usually going to go for an Oracle to start things off with, or it could be a Phoenix to get rid of those Overlords.
Yeah, I mean, really, I feel like Oracle is always going to be a good bet at... You know, I feel like only the absolute tip-toppest of pros are good about precisely placing the spores and the queens to be able to deflect. I mean, even then, you're almost always going to get at least a few pickoffs on the drones, so... Like seeing Rippalka busting out an Oracle eventually, but nope, just going for the Phoenix, which I feel like is kind of one of those conservative macro plays. Like, I don't want to have to do anything that's too dicey. I mean, if you lose an Oracle early game, you feel real dumb and you lose a lot of your scouting influence potential. Just getting the Phoenix out to just guarantee some early kills, guarantee that you don't get spotted. Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
I mean, he's obviously showing Stargate tech with that Phoenix, but getting rid of these Overlords means you can start to hide other things. And the other cool thing about opening with Phoenix is you can send that Phoenix across the map, lift up the Queen, and then when the Queen's taken out of the equation, the Oracle has a free drone line to start laser beaming down those drones.
Robotics facility, instant follow-up from Rippalka. Walnut off at the front. Twilight Council. We're doing the no gateway build from Rippalka, just getting every single tech structure up. I like the fact that JoLyn is not building this spore colony in the middle and instead just trying to rely on his, no doubt, superior micro abilities to just block it off with queens. Very fast Carapace upgrade. Pneumatized Carapace upgrade.
Yeah, to get those faster Overlords, because he is worried about losing them to the Phoenixes. Oh my god, this Phoenix needs to live. Watch out.
But at the same time, it looks like this Oracle is just trying to get some snipe damage, but this is, again, a very defensively placed Spore Crawler, and by joining these together, really nice aggressive creep placement from JoLyn, just getting all that good security up.
Oh, wow. That's a lot of gateways here. He's getting that Templar Archives down, so this actually could be a very big Archon/Adept warp in here. It's going to be very, very scary without a Roach count here from JoLyn, but he is actually getting a Roach War in a pretty decent time to maybe get those units up.
Yeah, not going for any sort of fast layer, not trying to be overly reliant on Lings. I mean, I feel like Lings and Queens are so well-rounded, it's very easy to just play a little bit too much into that and just lose straight up with just too many Adepts and Archons. But Roach is getting produced, and again, Rippalka playing this out. Very long-term focus, very conservatively, not getting any research from the Twilight Council, no Zealot legs, no Glaive upgrades.
Well, Zealot legs actually, Zealot charge should be what comes next here for Rippalka if he's doing this build. Yeah. The charge lot Archon composition is
the best
incredibly
in the entire
powerful.
History of the game.
It is. It's a very strong A move unit composition, and you get to have storms later. So it's very, very good against Lingbane Hydra, which most Zergs go for.
This music is just getting way louder than I expected, man.
Oh
All of a sudden, just those relaxing Terran beats, man.
If I had it my way, it would be Terran music all the way through, because I just love those twangy country tones.
Oh, dude, no doubt. Dude, I gotta say, like Brood War, best music ever, Terran music.
I mean, hands down, easily.
Oh, completely whiffed on the Archon drop when we were talking about music. The double Archons in the main base looks like it was largely undefended. Drones ran off, but not too terribly many kills going down there. 11 units down, only 6 workers.
Yeah, he got 6 drones, which is not too bad, and the most important thing is that he kept the Prism and the Archons alive, so they can regenerate some shields, come back, and with this Observer even clean up some creep. Oopsie daisies.
I really think this is such a gentle play coming out.
That's not a Dropper Lord.
I think he was just transferring. I think he's too clairvoyant for any of this stuff. Double Robo Facility follow-up, just to mass out a ton of Immortals, and you know, I really respect a lot what Rippalka's doing. He's not going too crazy trying to do the, Zest-level Oracle Harass, or trying to go too insane with the Warp Prism. He's just making sure that he's expanding. He's focusing on the macro side, which I feel like is one of those things that always stabilizes you to get to higher ranks.
Oh, he has one shield battery here, but I don't know if that's going to be enough. He's got double robotics facility making 2 immortals right now, and double immortal is definitely needed here. Unfortunately, that zealot needs to get out the way so he can get down here and defend this third nexus.
This is such a tiny army to be going up against. Oh gosh, Rippalka just does not... Oh, what a critical stasis! This immortal is falling very, very rapidly. It wasn't managed to get picked up by the Warp Prism. The Warp Prism was going back to get the other immortals, and now the Archon falls, but that huge warp in of zealots and these 2 immortals should be enough to hold it on. That stasis was so critical.
Yeah.
I did not even see that when it was coming up, and I was just shrugging like, well, I guess that's that then, man.
Oh, a second stasis. This is actually slowing down the cleanup because units in stasis are invulnerable. But he will be able to clean them up. And that Prism with the double immortal, with good micro, can hold on against an astounding amount of roaches. So you can see that there is a transition here from JoLyn. He's like, all right, we're at that point in the game where roaches aren't going to do the job anymore. I'm going to transition into Hydra Lurker.
I mean, that's when things start getting scary. When you can get lurkers at good angles and start sieging bases, locking down huge corridors. Because, controlling big areas of space in StarCraft 2 is generally a lot harder than in, a game like Brood War, where, 2 lurkers in a high ground, boom, nothing's coming up here, man. The lurkers in this game just have such ridiculous range.
They do, and that to me they're not as scary as a lurker in Brood War, but I guess most units in StarCraft 2 aren't as scary to me as units in Brood War. Like, for instance, these 2 Zerglings could probably solo a main by themselves if this was Brood War, but thankfully, charge lots are easy to warp in. You have the pylon warp in ability as well, so a lot of defenders' advantages here for Protoss.
Wow, both of these players are just being super diligent about ensuring the expansion continues to come out. Amazon Pain Force, JoLyn took that expansion in the midst of that fight, and this is what I'm talking about once you get to mid and late game on this map, it's so uncomfortable. These expansions are so close. You have to do setups for your expanding. You can't just sort of toss out an expansion while a fight's going on. You got to get real focused with your unit placement.
And speaking of focus, looks like a little bit of lack thereof in the main base, as these adepts were meant for the drones, but they stand and fight some queens, and the queens rip them out of the main base.
Almost got a queen kill, though.
Almost.
That's when you justify it. I knew I had enough time to do it. Speed and range.
Man, these lurkers. These lurkers are actually going to have +2 attack shortly. I mean, there aren't too many on the field just yet. He's just making the Hydras down. He's taking up to Hive. But, I mean, these lurkers actually need to be here now, because this attack from the Protoss is very, very scary.
Yeah, I mean, the Zealots will just get ripped to shreds if that lurker count gets high enough. And oh my gosh, the High Templar! No! What are these? My High Templar immediately just get picked off. JoLyn recognizing in the instant that he sees the window. The Zealots are going straight into the expansion. The Immortals are getting nice connections, pushing back this Roach army, but currently it looks like a pretty good time save here from JoLyn, but my god, just engaging against those Immortals at all is disastrous. Hydra numbers are trying to get replenished. Where is the Warp Prism? I know that there was a second one produced for the Protoss, but I mean, right now, JoLyn.
There's
like
2 Warp Prisms on the map.
Yeah, let's just say at the same time.
Yeah. I think it's that Skype delay, man. Australia's a long way away from America, it turns out.
I know, it actually takes 16 and a half hours for that signal to reach me, so, we always have to coordinate that properly.
Yeah, we haven't got our recording synced up just yet. +3 attack on the way here for the Protoss, and there's those lurkers, so this is going to be a little bit easier as that lurker count gets higher for the Zerg to defend, but that Immortal count is really quite scary.
Yeah, I mean, if we just look at the unit tabs, there's only 2 lurkers out right now, and I mean, ideally you'd want, like, 10. You'd want to just be able to rip down all these Zealots as fast as humanly possible, and the seemingly invincible Immortal Archon army begins to trudge forward. Hydra count 16 getting produced. It's still 4 base versus 3 base. This expansion just getting started for Rippalka. Pretty critical time to get that started. There was an attempted warp in, but the Warp Prism manages to get picked off. What a great angle for JoLyn. Immediately engages, ripping down those Archons in a matter of seconds. And Rippalka's wondering, why didn't I just proxy gate like my allies? That creep spread is not all over the place, but Maynard, it's just enough for him to be able to stutter step and pick off huge numbers of key units.
Yeah, he doesn't have any High Templar, he doesn't have any of those Storms, and that was really critical when he lost those High Templar earlier. That was his ability to deal with these Hydralisk numbers. Now he doesn't have any way to deal with the Hydralisks, and he has a big opening for this counterattack, which is potentially game-ending.
It looks like just units in mutiny, killing off buildings of their own friends. The Immortals trying to come back the barriers, not holding for long, and just simple stutter-stepping. JoLyn don't need no lurkers. Are you kidding me? He's waltzing right on up. Is there going to be enough Storm, or are these Templar also going to march to their death? They're at 70 health, 72 energy, 73. It's massive retreat. The fourth base is just completely undefended, unprobed. It's going to be all workers, all zealots, all the time heading on in. And Rippalka, who prepared the High Templar to deal with the Hydras, lost so many of them in the step forward.
Yeah. I mean, it has some storms, but that's not enough bad weather to deal with this many Hydralisks.
That indeed was well played, and it looks like the Pain Forest is going to mark their very first W of the series, Maynard.
So was that their second? No. Actually, I'm trying to remember who who ZestIsBest was playing for.
Oh, ZestIsBest? Oh, that was Charlie. ZestIsBest is, of course, playing for LX12.
That was game 2.
Yeah.
All right. Yes. Okay. That is true. All right. Just checking, making sure I got my notes ready.
Oh, yeah, you got it correct, baby, man. That means that right now, Alexa12 pool currently leads the series 2-1 in this best of 7. Now, the first 4 matches in the best of 7 are preset, but games 5, 6, and 7, all ace matches, baby.
Well, I'm excited. So it looks like we got Whisper versus Pulse coming up next.
It's going to be a PVT, because again, every single player on Alexa12 pool is running Protoss today, unless maybe they're going to pull a super fast one, switch to Zerg during the countdown, and then Alexa12 pool. That's going to be perfect.
That'd be a little dirty, but you know what? I'll allow it.
Dude, I actually think that key moment when Whisper picked off all of those High Templar, I mean, the Roaches were doomed against that Immortal Zealot army.
Yeah, the getting rid of those High Templar and then that instant decisive action to just make a bajillion Hydralisks, knowing that there wasn't any storms to worry about, it was really quite brilliant. He got him.
Yeah, and he held on just long enough. I mean, hitting from the outside lip is, you know, it's a really awkward angle to work with. And we even saw that JoLyn kind of encountered some struggles just with pathing, right? Because it's so hard because you have to be really careful with how you click. Are the debris down? How are my units going to go forward? Sometimes they just march straight into the Immortals and poof, they died, Lee. But, I mean, the pickoffs on the High Templar.
There were a few units as well that, like you just mentioned, that pathing kind of messed with JoLyn a little bit. He lost a few Roaches and Ravages on that high ground because he was trying to bring them home, and the AI in StarCraft 2 is too good. So they're just trying to go, the shortest point from A to B, and then they just died to charge lots.
Yeah, I mean, we are not at the point where Skynet has currently taken over humanity and can actually understand what our intent is when we click. Like, I didn't mean for them to path the shortest route. I just wanted them to conveniently retreat.
But you know what? If Skynet is ever created, it probably will be Amazon that creates them. They're such a powerful big brain company.
Well, looks like, oopsie daisies. I almost put the incorrect bracket up. I almost put the Dota brackets up. Let's go to the maps, man. Dude, I am super excited about our next map. It's going to be a PVT. It's going to be on Lost and Found. The most up and down and tiny, choked, awkward to move around in. This is the map that's really going to hurt you if you path weirdly, man. Ooh.
Yeah, there's some big valleys and big high grounds here for the opponents, and also a lot of destructible debris to make things very different as far as reinforcements and attack paths go. This matchup is very drop heavy. There's lots of medevac play and, of course, War Prism play from the Protoss as well. But it's also, short side note, my favorite map in the ladder map pool. I love this map.
Really?
I played so many games on it. Yes. It's it's not only aesthetically beautiful. There's a lot of really cool tile set things in it. It's also just a very solid macro map. Kind of reminds me of Cloud Kingdom a little bit, with like the first 3 bases and a couple of the high ground lips in the middle.
Oh yeah, but yeah. I mean, it's like a very classic shape in map design. Just the idea of like the high, low, traversing across the map. It makes it feel bigger in a way, because going up a high ground is always a little bit of an extra pain in the ass. Yeah.
And also, as a Terran player, there's some actually really good terrain to be able to set up siege tanks behind, which is my favorite, Terran unit in the game. So
yeah, as it should be. I mean, let's be honest. Let's get these Alexa with the 2, but of course, Amazon Pain Force coming back. Let's introduce our players. We got Pulse representing the Amazon Pain Forest in the bottom left-hand corner as our very first Terran player, and as yet another Protoss from Alexa 12 pool. It's Whisper.
Now, there is a whisper in the winds of a proxy day 9. That was a very, very early SCV being sent out here by Pulse.
Yeah. Ooh, it's gonna tuck away. I think I can build a factory down here. I don't really know what we're going to wind up seeing. Pulse is going for relatively early gas, and there's the barracks.
Uh-oh. Now, this could be proxy factory. It also could, depending on the gas count that he goes for here. I think if he goes for double gas, he might try proxying some cyclones. And he does get a double gas.
Oh. I think we might actually have proxy Reaper, proxy Cyclone.
Yes! Very likely, actually. Or maybe even
okay.
Marauder Cyclone. Marauder Cyclone is another one that's a little bit deadly.
I mean, if you are behind on the meta, it does not matter, because the meta now is double proxy, man. Look at this. Whisper. When you're a probe, and you try to grow up big and strong and scout an enemy Terran base, you don't want to see Supply Depot with nothing, and 2 gases already being mined. I mean, there's like no workers here.
That is bad news. And then there is that Reaper. And he does have enough money for that factory. He hasn't dropped it just yet. Oh, there it is. Wow.
What a weird
What's it doing
placement.
here?
Okay. Well, orbital command right away, but factory on this low ground feels... It feels a little odd to me. What do you make of a factory being placed so far away? You think it's actually going to not be proxy starport, or proxy factory be proxy starport?
I mean, he is just desperately trying to not get this factory scouted, but I think that it actually hurts him a little bit to have that back at home. Usually, if you want to get the factory at home, you build it as part of your wall, because there are a lot of ways for Protoss to punish you when you don't have a wall in, or a very, very weak wall in.
Well, it looks like Pulse is tuning into the mind of Lee. Of course, Pulse would never be so rude as to tune to the broadcast. That is highly unethical. But Pulse is doing the wall off. And
I mean, that's going to be Cyclones out of this factory, I'm sure. Or maybe Widow Mines, but this Reaper is trying to find a little bit of damage, and he's actually gotten 1 worker kill, but not worth it just yet. Now this I like.
Oh, there's the Cyclone, and a starport coming up. So, okay. Let's go through the mind of Pulse. Pulse does this proxy. Sends the Reaper in immediately, and then lifts the barracks, giving him full insight into what's happening in this main base. Now, if we look at Whispers, this is not an active build at all. I mean, he definitely felt like he was about to be all in, so naturally just building up some stalkers. But you know, if you are anticipating that your opponent is going to answer cheeses with stalkers as a unit, and you're starting to flood up cyclones, cool. But now to is this going to be really a command center? Lee, what's happening?
Well, I mean, it's like a proxy cheese into macro with your buildings on the outside of your base. Well, you know, 2/3 of the buildings here for Pulse are on the outside of his main. That one's floating home. That's a long trip, by the way. You can see that barracks trying to go back to the main base.
Yeah.
And Whisper actually played this incredibly well. I would have, if I was Whisper, I would be packing my pants with fear that there would be a lot of cyclones about to hit my natural.
You'd be every pocket would be brim full, lumpy pants. What's that in your pockets? It's fear.
Exactly. I'd be fear in every single pocket and orifice of my body. But the Cyclone's actually going to go across the map in a medevac here. And he also has a good gateway count to be able to get stores to deal with this. If he gets a single Immortal out, he can actually deal with this Cyclone play.
Oof. Well, I mean, the thing is, this is a very awkward setup that's kind of thrown Whisper down a very passive trajectory, where Pulse now is just getting the Raven. Pulse is getting additional barracks in his main base, going to be able to transition, and this is kind of a funky harassment that you generally don't expect. Yeah, there's stalkers here. You can deal... Oh, no, get out of there! No.
Oh, God.
Wow.
Oof.
I mean, I gotta say, this particular skin, it can sometimes hard to tell the Immortals from the Stalkers.
Yeah, they're using that Forge skin from the first war chest there. But so Whisper does hold on the main. He loses a pylon, which supply blocks him. But as far as that goes, it's not the hugest of deals. His Nexus is done now, so these Cyclones are going to want to get probe damage. Otherwise, things are going to slow down, because we see that the natural Nexus has been up for a while here for Whisper, while the natural's just now being taken for Pulse.
Yeah. I mean, this is so risky. I mean, you can't do any sort of cool pickups against the Immortal shot. It just punches you right in the face. So Pulse is being very cautious, does not have enough cooldown left on the get-out-of-jail-free button for the medevac.
Yeah, the get-the-hell-out-of-there button.
Yeah.
This Raven could actually help the Cyclone get rid of this Observer as well. He's going to do just that.
Really nice. Yeah, I mean, I feel like if you wind up in a very passive position as Whisper, your observers wind up being disproportionately important, because you don't have anything active on the map poking. What?
I hope... Sorry, I'm just getting really excited here, because I love Disruptors, and there's not been any double forge here from Whisper. No, okay. I think he is going for Colossus. Because, actually, no. Yeah, it should be Colossus. If you're going for charge lots, which he is doing with the Zealot legs here, the Disruptors can actually kill your own stuff. So you have to go for Colossi for splash damage.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a massive Marine tank army coming out for Pulse. He's now been doing Lego-style lifting, landing, musical chairs with the buildings long enough to just start getting up this nice core mixture. But, I mean, if you look at the Whisper Cam, I mean, he just is in all kinds of defensive mode. I mean, I was saying earlier, like, you don't have oracles to poke and deal damage, you have any sort of harassing units. You are just chilling back in the main base, hoping that you have a better setup than your opponent. But look at Pulse. Pulse is actually pulling ahead in the supply by quite a margin.
He is. It's not uncommon in TVP for the Terran to have a big army in the early to mid game, but still be down in bases and workers. The Protoss generally has more Nexi and more workers than the Terran. So it's up to the Terran, a lot of the times in TVP, to use that army supply advantage to go across the map and negate that economy of the Protoss. Like, try and do damage in a Nexus, get some probe kills, go for a drop, try and hit 2 places at once, or try and, like, brute force through the natural. But this Colossus is going to make things a little bit tough. They do bonus damage to Marines.
I mean, with the charge lot Colossus army, this is really Whisper preparing for the worst, just making sure that he has an extremely strong ground army against whatever's there. I mean, Blink is just now getting started, which is absolutely going to be critical as the base count begins to increase for Whisper. But, I mean, at this point, I'm looking at Pulse. I mean, he is getting +1 armor after his attack upgrade, but, I mean, he's kind of setting himself up for... Wait, does he not have the attack upgrade? Am I just wrong?
He does, actually, the G key for the upgrades there. He's got +1 attack and stim, and Combat Shield's going to finish up. I mean, Combat Shield doesn't take too long to finish up, so he should have this by the time he gets across the map. These well-placed observers, like you mentioned, Whisper has nice map vision. He's got plenty of ability to respond here. And this isn't an all-in. There is a third CC behind this, but if this fight goes bad for Pulse, Whisper's going to take a big lead here.
Yeah, I mean, these rocks not being destroyed is real... Oh, man, that's huge. That is really bad news. And immediately the Raven, just the dart forward, has disabled these Colossus for so long. And look at this. Look at this Pulse. God. He sees opportunity and he takes it. I thought this was going to be an easier timing push to hold off. But no, that was just the most incredible shot from that Raven. That's it.
That is it. He's erased the army from the game here. Interference Matrix shutting down those robotics units. Pulse with that sick push just ends the friggin' game. My God. I
mean, he didn't even like siege the tanks up. He just like ran everything forward. That was the most clean execution of just disabling both Colossi. It was chef's kiss good.
Bellissimo.
I mean, that was... Man.
Guys,
Sorry, go ahead, Maynard.
Look, I'm just shout out to... I know there's a bunch of people out there that like to ladder to this Stacraft too. A lot of Terran players out there. If you want to get some free wins against Protoss, do what Pulse did. That is such a strong play. So many Protoss want to get those Colossi out, and that just shuts them down completely.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a clever play to start off with. I mean, I was just looking at this. I was like, well, we've done 2 cheese openings at the first 2 matches, so of course we're going to see a cheese opening in match 4. But then it didn't transition into, like, the cheese that you expect. It just kind of... I always feel like there's these paths that you wind up going down because you have certain expectations, right? Like, oh, he's proxying, he has nothing in his main base. That means he needs to deal damage to me. So I'm just going to build Stalkers and play defensively. No active units, no Stargate, no Robo, any weird harass style I can do. I'm not going to do that. So then you obviously feel compelled to get some sort of Robo-based power units up, and yeah, then you just Raven and blow it up because you have so much energy.
It was the most standard macro-focused opener there from the Protoss player. Like, it was as standard could be, and Pulse has clearly done his research or played this matchup quite a bit on ladder and shut it down completely. He did the exact right thing.
It's so funny because it's almost like a form of cheese that is not about winning as fast as you can. It's about one weird little window that your opponent doesn't know because it's the first time they've ever been up against that.
I think this is the most wonderful thing about that is that, like I mentioned, it's not an all-in. There's a third command center behind that. There's a lot of production. You could, you know. You can keep playing a game out of that. If it goes badly and you don't lose everything, like you pull back, maybe load up the Nativax, pull everything back a little bit, you can still defend on 3 bases. It's a really, really strong build.
Yeah, and I mean, I was sort of a little surprised to see that 3rd command center go down, because, I mean, it's taken some time. I was kind of expecting Barracks 4 and 5 to go down, him to just be like, all right, I'm all in, let's just do this. Let's get this thing over with, man. But, I mean, yeah, I would very much so agree with your comment that Pulse has clearly done his research and figured his stuff out, man.
What a god. I'm excited for these ace matches, and I'm hoping that they field this Terran beast again.
Now, typically we hop into the next match immediately, like right away. But only the first 4 matches are decided. And the way that the structure works is that each team submits who's playing in games 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then once both teams have submitted, it is revealed what the matchups are. Now, for matches 5, 6, and 7, we still do that same thing, except it's chosen right before the match. So the next map is going to be on my personal favorite map in the map pool. It's going to be on Darkness Sanctuary. And I mean, I got no shame in saying I like its hugeness, man.
It is the biggest map in the map pool by far. Zerg players love this map because you have so much space, you have so much room to react, and Zergs just like being far away from their opponents. They like to have time to react and have that creep spread, giving them all the intel in the world.
Yeah, I mean, there's been some really beautiful games on Darkness Sanctuary that involve hidden expansions, which I've sort of had a shifting relationship to, because, like, you know, I always hated playing against hidden expansion builds in Brood War, in Wings of Liberty, and Heart of the Storm. Heart of the Storm, as you know, is halfway between Heroes of the Storm and Heart of the Storm. But Legacy of the Void just has such a quick pace, and this map has so many resources on it that, like, yeah, it's a little cheeky and cheesy to do the hidden base, but there's just so much space to maneuver and so many odd attack paths that get formed as you break down the rocks later in the map.
The other cool thing about this map is, I mean, unlike the 2-player maps where you know where you're going to spawn, you know where your opponent is immediately off the bat, this is one of those maps where you could spam diagonally, so you could spawn diagonally, so there's a really, really long rush distance between both players by air and by ground, or it could be horizontally or vertically, so it could be any spawn position, which could really change up, you know, what you want to go for if you scout your opponent in a certain position. Like, you could be close by air. There are some strong push paths, I know, specifically for Terran, if they field a Terran here in this game.
Yeah.
I haven't seen who they're going to field just yet, but we're keeping you guys on the edge of your seat to see who comes out for Alexa 12 pool. And
Indeed. Yeah, I mean, there's a comment that you made there that I really like, which is the way that things function differently, horizontally, vertically, or diagonally. And that's something that I just really adore about 4-player maps, that you can... Well, I feel like 99% of players begin a map saying, here's exactly the opening that I want to do and the exact style that I want to do, depending on whatever race my opponent picks. But on those 4-player maps, you tend to have those sub-plans of like, okay, if we're horizontal, here's my verse Terran build, but if we're diagonal, here's my change in that build. And I think that's always like really interesting to consider when you're watching those openings, how that impacts everything.
For sure. And like I mentioned when I first discussed this map with you, Day9, I really feel like if you have a Zerg player on your roster, which we know that Alexa 12 pool does not have, you want to put them out there now. This is a good time to put out your Zerg. Like I mentioned, they have that space. There's a potential for a long spawn.
They do have a Zerg player, and he is coming out. Yep. We just got the chance to see their first 4 players in the Protoss trunks. But no, it's going to be MrNovember as Zerg versus Pain Forest's JoLyn again as ZVZ on this map.
Ooh, all right. So, like I mentioned, you want to put your Zerg on this map, and I guess they didn't expect for the other guy to pick a Zerg as well.
I don't know. I think MrNovember's going to pick P at the last second. It's going to be A+. I hope this match doesn't go the way of the Scarlet Nurchio match, which I may have seen in WCS, where one Baneling and insta GG. I mean, Zerg vs. Zerg, I feel like is just has such a weird texture to it, where you're about to lose at the start of the game, and then we all have virtues for a little bit. Like,
the game starts and you are instantly in danger. It's very true. Like, there are a lot of 12 pulls, as Alexa 12 pull will be able to tell you. But it's so coin flippy on a big map like this, because if you attack in the wrong direction, then your lings are just not doing anything. They're in the middle of nowhere.
All right, perfect. We got MrNovember for Alexa 12 pool. He's the first player who can actually 12 pool for that team. For Zerg coming out. Going to be up against JoLyn Z. Now, you'll recall JoLyn was playing in our third match, played very standard, and managed to successfully win. So as we go in here into our next match, let's introduce our players. The series is tied 2-2. It is going to be MrNovember for Alexa 12 pool up against JoLyn for the Amazon Painforest.
Certainly is, and it looks like all the action is going to be in the bottom third of the map here on Darkness Sanctuary. As once both players usually send their first Overlord out to the closest air base. JoLyn is unfortunately sending his to the north. Looks like MrNovember probably going to get the scout first here.
Always want to send it in the direction where you can spot that natural expansion and the direction that the ramp exits from.
Ooh, MrNovember is drone scouting as well as Overlord scouting. He really wants to know where JoLyn is immediately here. So this could be super safe, or it's because he wants to know where his opponent is so he can just kill him immediately.
Yeah, that is totally true. I just wanted to note, for any of you who are curious about the other games that we have going on, this season was League of Legends, Dota 2, Starcraft 2, which we're casting right now, but the Starcraft 2 was delayed a little bit due to the length of the Dota 2 games. And the Overwatch matches are starting right now. If you are interested in watching the AHGL finals for Overwatch, go check out twitch.tv/AHGLTV, or you can go to my Twitter, and I've tweeted about it.
There it is.
Yes.
Not going to be casting that Overwatch yourself then?
No, let me tell you something. My game knowledge in Overwatch is absolutely negative. I would just be like, I don't know why we're not seeing lots of Bastions.
Man, I feel you on that one. I actually tried casting some Overwatch with a good friend of mine, Zeph, and we had a good time, but my God, it was it was madness. It was madness. I'm keeping this PG-13 by using very nice words. As an Australian, it's tough to keep it PG-13, but I am doing my best.
Indeed. Looks like that drone scout for MrNovember's. You just gotta get in here, make sure everything's okay. But yes, Hatch Gas Pool versus Hatch Gas Pool. Where is he gonna? No, looks like an evolution chamber coming down from MrNovember.
Now, this is very likely for +1 Carapace, because if you get +1 Carapace on those Linglongs, then they don't die immediately to a Baneling, which is fantastic. They take a ton of damage, but they don't die, which is the most important part.
Yeah, and I mean, like, that is so critical, because, I mean, you want to be able to peel Banelings away one at a time and just sort of march them in as a little daisy chain there. But if you have that safety, it's almost a way to sort of pay money to avoid having micro errors. And is he gonna MrNovember? There it is. There's the Carapace starting.
And there's the Baneling Nest from JoLyn. So, the Baneling Nest looks to actually be defensive. He's going for a third base here. He just wants to not die to a Ling Flood, which I completely respect.
Yeah, no, I appreciate JoLyn's wish to make the game go on longer.
And to not just die.
So JoLyn is checking the third base. This is an incredibly essential spot for JoLyn. JoLyn, I believe, maybe was able to see that drone. You gotta assume that there's a third going down there if you see that drone. But JoLyn, this is probably the biggest indicator when he sees that there's no Ling speed.
Yeah, that Baneling Nest is up now. Unfortunately for JoLyn, he only has one Zergling, and it's just coming home now, so he doesn't really have the opportunity to make too many Banelings.
Yeah.
Thankfully, MrNovember is not attacking or anything like that. He is just making drones and queens and just going up to the next phase of the game here. He's got a Baneling Nest of his own, and JoLyn's like, hey, I don't care much for Ling Bane. I'm going to drop a Roach Warren.
Yeah, I mean, JoLyn is just trying to get past this dumb phase of Zerg vs. Zerg as fast as possible. What do you mean I got a micro-lings and Banelings? I'm not doing that, man. I'm just going to get the Roaches up. I'm just building a sort of cordially, I'm building the Baneling Nest just to be polite, to let you know that I could die if I didn't build it. But then straight into Roaches, straight into Evo Chamber. I mean, this is a pretty bold build, I gotta admit.
That Ling died, but it got an incredibly important scout. It saw the lair, and it saw the extra Evo chamber. Yeah. So seeing this lair, knows that he's actually going to be up against some speed Roaches shortly. So He could try and break him here, or he could just try and power into his own Roach Warren and be defensive, because he has that superior upgrade. He has +1 Carapace. Oh no, he is going to try and break him. He's making 14 lings. And it looks like he might have his sights set on that third base.
I think this is a pretty smart response. I mean, you have the third hatch up, so you know you can go toe-to-toe in terms of larva. You have the +1 Carapace upgrade. Can you manage to get the lings in there before any sort of weird roach speed or just roach numbers wind up getting too high? It's the only way that you can successfully exploit this +1 Carapace upgrade in this tiny window. So, MrNovember darting forward, and I mean, there's just not really any banelings for JoLyn.
Oh, these banelings are actually pathing a little bit weird here. Looks like they're going for the natural, but the roaches are there to meet them.
And are they going to get into the drones? Oh, they managed to get a good connection.
3.
Only 3, but the lings are continuing to swarm in. They do have this +1 Carapace. And the fact that there's just not that many roaches here, I mean, MrNovember might seriously deal some big damage here. Killing these roaches off is going to be a little bit uneconomical, but really it's the fact that you can split them up as MrNovember and go for different targets. I mean, he might just right-click on this hatchery.
Yeah, this hatchery is a very weak part of the infrastructure here for JoLyn. Keep in mind, these lings still have that +1 Carapace upgrade, so they can take a little bit more acid from these roaches who don't have any upgrades just yet, and that third hatchery is dead.
And with this northern retreat route, this is so nice for a ling-based player to be able to pull back into. Looks like MrNovember says, okay, I mean, I managed to get my damage in, but you have already started building lots and lots of roaches, and this is the real danger that JoLyn can just be like, all right, well, I'll just go kill you, dude.
Yep, I mean he has a pretty strong army here of roaches. Obviously, don't have speed just yet.
No.
His legs be jumped a little while. The lings are looking for the natural. They bleed on in. They can go to the main as well.
There's literally nothing here at all. And in the meantime, it looks like JoLyn is sending some lings in to try to spot. Has his thick, swole-up army of roaches in the completely wrong place. MrNovember with the +1 Carapace lings tearing this natural expansion apart. Man. Meanwhile, at the natural expansion of MrNovember, it's going to be late spine crawlers versus a pretty manageable amount of roaches.
Yeah, these roaches, this army looks thick with 2 Cs, but with the spine crawlers and the queen's able to transfuse, I think he might be able to hold in back at home as his own roaches come out of his hatcheries. He's making 7 now. I think MrNovember's got this.
Oh, JoLyn panicked, sent his roaches cross map, but MrNovember just swung in with the counterattack and cleaned everything up. That means that Alexa 12 Pool, the undefeated team, is 1 game away from the AHGL championship.
Wow, and that would make a queen sweep. That's a list. That's a list right there. My bad.
That's a list.
Maybe it was actually a Zerg pun. Let's go with that.
No, I like that. It's going to be a queen sweep.
A queen sweep.
Dude, I feel you, man. I know you were watching me play Dark Souls. I could not say Grass Crest Shield. It was the hardest item to say in the entire game.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy that you hit Dark Souls Remastered so hard that you went all the way to the end, dude. It's not known by everyone, but like people that watch me stream, I am actually a huge Dark Souls fan. I'm currently trying to finish Dark Souls 3 as a level 1 character. It's hard, but yeah. I'm nearly done, dude. 20 bosses out of 25. Damn. Nearly done.
Holy cow. Okay. Look. More on that later. I gotta find out what the matchup is. The matchup, the captains were deciding it. They are going to be playing on 16-bit.
We love this map.
Yeah, it's... You know, it's kind of reminiscent of Cloud Kingdom in a few ways. Every time Cloud Kingdom is brought up, I just imagine being overlaid on the map that's there. It's going to be DarkZero's Protoss versus Pulse's Terran. Ooh.
Oh, baby, Pulse, my man. He's coming back into it. I'm excited. So with this pocket natural, it means that your, most places the player's going to expand in the back, which means that there's no way for a ground push to do any damage to it unless they bust through the main base, which is very, very hard. So that's the big feature of this map.
Yeah, and it also encourages, in a way, some pressure at least to do scouting early on, because it's very easy to block your own ramp once you get, like minute and a half, 2 minutes into the game, and then just you can do some sort of cheesy thing behind. Am I expanding? Am I not? But just being able to have that comfort expansion there means that you can take defensive risks you couldn't ordinarily take.
Is that a Grand Master portrait on DarkZero that I see there? Oh my god.
My. Wait, DarkZero, wasn't he... I know he played in the first 2 games, but was he the... He's the one who went for the Dark Templar rush in our very first game. Wow.
Madness. Yeah, DarkZero against aTcho.
Yeah,
French Protoss.
Yeah, man. aTcho. Death, no problem.
Bodied by those Cloak Boys.
Oh my gosh, looks like Pulse is... Okay, here's the reason why we're not starting the match. You want to know why? You want to know why? Because Amazon Pain Force is supposed to choose red, and Pulse keeps trying to choose pink.
He just keeps doing it. I mean, pink is the color of victory. A lot of people want to be pink in a custom game, but you got to be red, true. Man. You got to be a team player.
Yeah, you have to put on the red trunks. Looks like Pulse finally choosing.
It autoed to pink, a likely story, Pulse.
I mean, at this point in time, I'm sort of looking at this map and I'm thinking, where is Pulse going to do some cutesy stuff now? I mean, sometimes you feel pressured to not do your same cheesy play twice in a row, but there's certain players that just do nonsense so consistently that that's their standard style. I would love to see Pulse do some sort of interesting, weird land barracks on your natural, do a Raven pushy dushy thing.
just off the top of your head, just something like that.
Yeah. I love that. All right, looks like the match has gotten started, and it is now going to be the man himself representing the Amazon Pain Force. It is currently down 2-3. We've got Pulse in red. And down the bottom left, his team is one game away from winning. Can he clutch and close it out? It's DarkZero.
Oh, well, there's even more reason to cheer for Pulse here as I want to go to the ace match.
Who doesn't?
I wanted to go the full distance here. Exactly. More Stacraft is always a good thing. DarkZero going for that very quick probe scout, question mark? Mm-hmm. This could be something a little bit more sinister.
Well, I feel like it's this pressure that you feel against a Terran or even a Protoss that if they get this wall off up, you just don't know. Oh, okay.
that was scouted, by the way.
Yeah.
This is the Macarax. You remember that from Wings Liberty days, where you just sort of you put your barracks on the outside of your main and just like hope that they don't scout a little bit off track to see it. But it is spotted.
Oh my gosh, this is what? Oh my gosh, he's actually building a second barracks here. Is he going to cancel this? Like, okay, this is tickling me.
I mean, this could turn into like a 2-1-1 or something like that, but it's a little bit weird because of the timing of the barracks here. Like you mentioned, there is a possibility that he cancels this barracks. I mean, he's tipped his hand to DarkZero, but then you get into mind game territory.
I feel like this is not the map where you want to do something. No, it's gonna. Oh! Wait, is the probe trapped? Okay, yes, he does have to mineral walk in order to get out of there, but I feel like this is not the map where you really want to try to do some whoopsie, I'm under pressure, let me cheese, because it's so easy to defend this thin ramp, dude.
He cancels that barracks, by the way, and it was scouted by DarkZero's probe, so he knows it's on one barracks, which means that he's very likely for DarkZero scouting going to go for an expansion to back natural or a proxy factory. He hasn't actually seen the main base, so he doesn't know the gas count. He could probably be playing still very, very afraid.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Pulse has been doing enough weird stuff that I think he seems to have a pretty strong grip on exactly what a Protoss is capable of at varying points in time. You just expect someone to do something conservative. If you're ever under pressure on a map like this, you just have a free expansion. Let's just get that one up. So I would expect Pulse to just beeline directly towards the bottom right after he's identified that there's no sort of weirdness here.
For sure. Yeah, you want to confirm that there's another Nexus there. Making less assumptions in StarCraft is better than than just guessing what your opponent is up to. But both players are actually, I just realized that they're both on Psionic Aftermath, this pretty popular team on the North American ladder. So they probably know each other very, very well as well.
Oh, you're right. They are both on Team Psyx. Okay. Well, It looks like the Reaper's coming out for Mr. Pulse.
Yep, just going for that Reaper Scout, of course, very heavily delayed here by the fact that his first barracks had to be abandoned and then cancelled.
Looks like Adept and Reaper going to just hang out, move hand in hand. And we have ourselves something very normal looking. It's going to be double Hellion opening up. It's going to be a 1-1-1. I would expect, given how sick that play was from Pulse, that we're going to see the Raven come right up, man. Oh, just disabling big, thick, swollen units.
It could also be a Banshee play, but the showing of the Raven really flexed his his muscle there in that game. Oh wow! So he's going to go for medevac with Hellions here. So Hellions have found their way back into TVP because they're very, very good against probes. And it looks like he's just going to probably go into that back natural here, which is tough to defend.
Yeah, I feel like in a lot of ways the reason that the Hellions, I mean, it's just kind of a funny thing to say, like, well, because they're good against probes, but I mean, the fact that you have to spread out so much means that probes wind up being more vulnerable sooner. I mean, there's a pair of units to defend against this, so I'm always curious the way that we're going to see Pulse transition out of it. He's going Widow Mines, he's got a single Marauder just for defense, he's getting the Viking up. Pretty defensive posturing here from Pulse.
Ooh, unfortunate supply block there from Pulse, but it is going to be fixed up very shortly. And with this stim follow-up and this single Marauder, he can actually, with that high ground, deal with probably 1 or 2 Stalkers. He's also just dealing with the fact that there might be an Oracle, so there's Widow Mines being buried here just in case. Now, with the shield battery, that natural is very safe.
Yeah, I mean, he is just not going to deal with any sort of problems. In terms of the medevac, it's just making its way over this left side of the map, which I feel like 90% of players just always go for this because it has the very obvious drop routes. This is kind of a cute little mix-up here to just drop in this corner. Just DarkZero's here. No! Guaranteed probe kills. Ow! Oh my gosh, he's not even going to try to get out. He's just literally going to sit here and cook things. Oh my gosh, Pulse is killing it!
Yeah, I mean, these Hellions have already paid for themselves, so if they die, they die. But he's going for that natural now. The natural probes are actually defended by the shield battery, so they should be fine, and they are.
Yuck.
But that was some good damage, man. 12 probe kills.
Line them up!
Line them up.
Man, it's been years since I said that, man. That's great. Feels good.
Welcome back to Stacraft 2, my friend.
TYVM. Just so you know, man, After Hours Gaming League, absolutely going to have Starcraft next spring season.
Oh, hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, dude, yeah! It was the original game in AHGL, man. Now we have 9 games. Yeah, League of Legends, Dota 2,
it's good for branding.
Starcraft. Oh my god! Oh my god! Holy cow, I didn't even realize we can't add any other games. That's it. We can't. We've maxed out.
You gotta take one game out to get another one in.
I know. Wow, I didn't realize that we were going to have to whack-a-mole with the titles, man. I thought that people could just play games, but no, the branding is just too powerful.
That's right. Man, we got a Colossus follow-up here for DarkZero. No surprises. Pulse is trying to go for what looks to be some Widowmine Carpet Bomb play into the natural. Now, Widowmines don't care about shield batteries, Day 9.
Indeed. Why heal if you can just one-shot everything? I mean, I have loved so much watching Maru do filthy, dirty things with Widowmines inside of Medevacs. Liberator! Oh, it's gonna get some kills. I hate probes. I'm Pulse. I want all probes to die. Just blowing things up, and I mean, just 2 Stalkers. Not gonna be enough to kill off this Liberator. It's just gonna immediately unsiege back out again.
Now, that's not game-ending damage, but it's slowing down the Protoss, and it's also denying Miner Time, and it's also getting inside DarkZero's head. You can see that he's got a probe position for a 3rd Nexus that he hasn't taken yet because he's all over the place trying to, you've described Protoss, not Protoss, but described StarCraft in the past as like a disorganization simulator, right? Like it's just trying to put pieces in a row. And it is exactly that. When things start to go bad and your whole base is on fire, you need to fix all those fires and put them out. It's like a SimCity disaster. Godzilla's walking through your base.
Well, I mean, DarkZero has done the truly Japanese thing and easily fended off Godzilla time and time again. I mean, it looks like he has not had any problems nailing all his supply. He hasn't gotten blocked. His build hasn't gotten thrown off. 3 probes in all the geysers. Workers being rebuilt in all these varying locations. Kind of a small little, I'll just call it like a recreational drop. This rarely does huge damage, but...
Yeah. It's not very committal, this drop.
Yeah.
He's not going to take this drop home to meet his mother. It's not very committal at all.
It's just...
there's no way he's getting back in there now. The Cyclones are in position. They have pretty good anti-air range. Not a whole lot of anti-air damage, but good range. Good zoning.
So, I mean, Pulse is just determined to not let anything happen to this base. Going to wait for the turret to go, probably pull back, but 3rd base coming up from Pulse. I think the unit count's what's going to reveal what's to come. And we have a few of those early Cyclones, a Liberator, a Siege Tank, but just basically bio and still only on 3 barracks. Pulse has got to begin getting back on the production game. I mean, there are so many structures getting produced. We have 8 gateways total in production, and in the units tab, we already see there's 2 Colossi out, so I'm starting to feel a little concerned for Pulse that he needs to start making some magic happen soon.
It is starting to get to that point in the game, I completely agree with you, where the Terran needs to do something with this army supply advantage. Once again, you need to go for that push, or you need to try and delay the third, or do damage to the third, or something, or go for another drop, because if you let the Protoss spiral out of control, they're going to have Storm energy for days. They're going to have lots of Colossi. They're going to have their upgrades up. Double Forge is being Chrono Boosted, and Chrono Boost is a pretty good spell. So, you know, the upgrades aren't looking super crash hot for Pulse at the moment.
That's probably the biggest thing I'm worried about, is that if you start getting those upgrades... Oh, no! He started armor, and he queued up attack, +1 attack after it. Oh, my God, it hurts so much. It burns.
Feels bad, man. I know what that feels like.
Oh, gosh, and that's not a good burn. That's not like we need to disinfect the wound kind of burn. That's just like stop touching the stove. It's kind of like fire. It burns.
Yeah, it's not like you just done chest day and your chest hurts, but it's a good hurt. That's a very, very bad hurt there.
It's not the sort of burn after a workout where you're like, you know what, this justifies me tweeting about the fact that I'm working out again. Let's go. It's not that kind of burn, you know.
I feel good about my gym selfie. I think I'm justified to do that.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's not my fault. I didn't ask to talk about CrossFit every time I do CrossFit. I just am obligated to.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, well...
well, the Raven's back again with the ability, lots of energy here for the shutdowns on those Colossi. This could work here for Pulse.
Oh, this is a lot of pressure on Pulse. Pulse is checking in, but note, Storm is done. 2-2 has started. You can't cluster. You can't do that. You got to be careful. You got to be careful. He's going to zone with the Liberator. This will allow him to step up. He's going to scan, and where's the Raven? Uh-oh, looks like small counterattack. Zealot's starting to stream into this natural expansion. So now Pulse...
This is really nice.
Uh-oh. It is dealing a ton of damage, Maynard.
Oh, these units in the front getting sentry and picked off there. It looks like Pulse's attention so split here. He's microing on the front lines. And the back lines, he doesn't have enough bio to clean up all of these charge lots. They're going to continue their reign of terror. And these Vikings are looking for Colossi pickoffs, but there is just not that many Vikings in the sky. And not a whole lot of bio on the ground, and plenty of storms. Here we go.
Feedbacks, Colossi marching straight up to the siege tanks, but the 2 in the back still managing to get some nice hits in. One of the Colossi falls. Another command center of the natural expansion's down. It's 3 bases to 2. The Storm on the bio cleans it up in a matter of seconds. And now the 2 lone siege tanks in the back, and see you later.
The whole time the Raven was doing nothing. It was just sitting there. Pulse has really been caught with his pants down here. He's getting completely torn apart on both fronts. And now there's a 3-base Protoss with a 2-base Terran, and the charge lots are in the main.
Straight up out multitasked, hitting in 2 places at once. I couldn't even find the Raven. During that fight, it just was not doing much. Some probes maybe get a little bit harassed here, but, I mean, 3-base versus 2. SCVs marching every which way. It looks like +1 attack is just done.
God.
Oh, the pain.
These Marines, they got some clean. They need to do the dishes, Day 9. They haven't finished. It's still dirty. It's full of Protoss. There we go.
Oh, was that an 18 kill or a 10 kill? I don't want to look, man.
Oh, God. So many workers have died in this game. 38 SCVs have died. Ugh. Disgusting.
They both have the same army supply, and it looks like the ultimate weapon is being brought out. All spare SCVs. Pulse is going in. The economy
he's all in.
Absolutely in favor of DarkZero. No.
Ooh,
but Pulse.
Bad start.
Yeah. He's pulling the boys.
Here they come. And unfortunately, there are still storms available here for DarkZero, and also these very tanky Archons. He is quite Stalker heavy.
Stalker heavy can help. We have yet more boys being pulled. Every boy you ever knew is currently here on the front lines. It looks like he's going to try to do some sort of distraction-style drop. This could actually
I don't know about this.
Yeah.
I think he needs to have everything here and try and win a fight against the Protoss army. That's kind of his only way to win the game, I think. If he splits up his army, he's going to get cleaned up for sure. And there's that big push here.
Oh, the storms! No! Oh my God! It's a complete massacre. All the boys that were pulled are dead. Pulse says GG.
GG.
And Alexa 12 pool no longer. It's Alexa. GG. Alexa 12 pool. Amazon defeats Amazon. Congratulations, Team Amazon. DarkZero with the second win. ZestIsBest, Rippalka, Whisper. And of course,
Man, that was actually
November. Yeah.
That was actually really like a lot more high level than I expected, and a really, really entertaining series.
That's always a blast to watch because, you know, there's just so much refinement and clarity and precision when you watch a lot of the pros play. And there's just a little bit more dirty, like knife tactics in these sorts of games. You know, we got some nice cheese, we got some cool double proxies, we got some nice macro games. We got the boys pulled. Congratulations to Alexa 12 Pool for closing the series out 4-2. $5,000 will go to their charity GiveWell. It's a nonprofit dedicated to funding outstanding giving opportunities through in-depth analysis. They have thousands of hours of research that have gone into finding top-rated charities, evidence-backed, thoroughly vetted, and as always, underfunded. If you want to give GiveWell a donation, please feel free to check them out. And of course, Alexa 12 Pool, congratulations again.